This is a wonderful day for me in many ways. I get to see Mandy. It's been a while. And I get to visit with you. And I know that seems strange, because how are you visiting with somebody that you can't see? But I can. And I think often of what it is that I've learned in this long journey that I have that might be of value. And one of the things that's suggested is that we talk a little bit about um, dealing with negativity and how it affects us and how it can affect us for long, long times. I think that I tell my story often about growing up in an environment that was extremely negative. And I felt very much that I was responsible for that. That when people were displeased over things that were going on in their life, that it had to have been something I did. I don't think we often realize how children take the things that they see or feel around them and not understand, except that it must have been their fault. One of the negative things that goes on for me is hearing people when they are filled with anger and regrets, and it's projected on them in a way that doesn't allow them to heal beyond it. So, negativity is very contagious, and it's hard sometimes to look at the cause. The reason we need to see the cause of it is that we can't change anything unless we have an ability to acknowledge it and to see where maybe there is something that we have that we could change that would make it less painful or definitely not passed on to those that we love or those around us. When I hear someone that's suffering put that blame on themselves, I feel that there's something I need to do. And the one thing that's important that I do is that I don't take ownership of someone else's negative space or particular opinions that are painful to me and to people I care about. If I'm in a negative space, it's like being in quicksand. I'm stagnant. I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to see where I need to make changes. And I'm often afraid that I do pass that on. When I'm in that kind of space, and sometimes being there is caused by some things that happen as we age, pain, for one, feeling very helpless and out of control, the inability to change something that I can't is not going to be where I want to be. And is that important? To me, it is. Because it's like we say, sometimes we feel sorry for ourselves. We call it being on the pity pot, which is fine. It happens to all of us. But when we're there any length of time, it affects our whole.
I did it. Okay. We can start over again. I have no idea where you were. Do you know where you were?
No.
Do you remember?
No idea exactly where we ended up, but we had a little bit of a computer glitch, and Mandy fixed it, so I'm back. And what we had started talking about, or what I had started gabbing on, was negativity and how it affects us and how it affects the people around us. So if I repeat myself, it's because I'm not quite sure what I said. um, I know that when I sit in my chair and I'm feeling quite a bit of pain, I don't want help from my wonderful husband. I don't want him to try to fix it. And I get a twinge of anger because I have no control over what his reaction is. And I have to work on not letting that negative space I'm in spill over on him, because then he feels that he needs to be doing something that's beyond his ability to do. And that's to stop my being in pain or uncomfortable. So I think I don't think at that moment that I'm hurting him, but I am. So how am I going to get beyond that negative space that I'm in? Well, I can find something else to do to keep my mind going. And I do that. I paint, and I will go into the art room and I will spend an hour, hour and a half painting. And even though sometimes that's uncomfortable because of age and my hands, I do it, and that's all I'm thinking about. I also I meditate while I paint. I can put meditative music on my phone. I can chant while I paint. And anything I do to keep my brain in a different direction from what my body is suffering is a positive thing. So that's a choice I can make when I know that I'm in a space that's not comfortable and can affect other people besides myself. When I am around people and they are stuck in that space of negativity, I have to be very careful that I don't try to take it on as something I have to fix. This is a problem that many people suffer from, sensitive people who want people to be happy and be in feel as good as they're feeling. They want to lift them up. And that's a warning sometimes that I might be pushing myself, or they might be pushing themselves in a spot that they may get stuck in. It's a dark place. It's like being depressed when you feel the weight of other people's problems. It's understandable for people that I know and love that that's where they might be. They need the recognition that that's not going to help the person that's in that space as much as my modeling what it is that is positive and a happy place, and that I can do that. Very often, just as being negative can be contagious and passed on to others, so can the ability to show how good it feels when I can smile, when I can find value in the things that I'm doing, when I can feel grateful. I've done this one a lot, that I can stop myself from going there. I don't have to be in a painful place someone else is in to bring them relief. I don't have to take it on myself. So that's something to think about when you find yourself in a situation We're hearing people go on and on in a way that just feels so dark, and you can feel yourself going there with them. You have to stop it. And when you do, it's that you just back away from it. You make a choice not to be with people that make you feel less of a person or responsible for them in all ways. And then there's the guilt that comes with that if when you can't absolve them of their suffering and you feel like you failed. Much nicer to feel that you gave them a gift that they could take and you just put it out there without any force of, well, you've got to do this way. That doesn't work at all. But simply the use of being able to say, I was feeling that way. And I found that if I did something pleasurable for me, that I was relieved of that sense of negativity. And I gained from it and I was able to pass it on. Everything that I do for me has a value for someone else. I may not even know what it is. And I've talked about the fact you pass someone and you smile at them, and they have a reaction like, oh, someone smiled at me. And they smile back, and they automatically feel a little better. So it isn't so much as resolving someone's problems or pulling them out of the hole as it is surrounding yourself with that aura, with that sense of, I'm in a good space. I like the way I feel. I want to keep feeling positive, and the benefits will show, not just for you, but for those in your immediate surroundings. We need to do this because we live in a difficult time. Not that we haven't before, but now extremely so. We're raising children who have a lot of fears of what their future is going to be like, fears of what this world is going to be like. And we can only do what we can in our own immediate surroundings. We can recycle. If you have a home, you can compost, which is a biggie. We can share our values with those that we love. We can be honest. And those things are basically the things in our control. I can't control world peace, but I can surround my own self in a peaceful sense. If everybody did it, we'd have a little bit more, maybe in our immediate circle. Um, but it is scary. And it is almost all negative. So we try not to listen to the news too much. We show what we can do for others. My husband's about to start collecting winter clothes for the homeless. It makes him feel good and it gives a gift. I continue to try to bring people into doing what I do for pain, which is finding something else to keep your mind busy and being here for them if they need an ear, but not if I'm going to allow their struggles and their black spaces to affect me. I mentioned to someone, which I hadn't said, that when they are angry, I feel very pained indeed. I do not handle and can't cope with other people's anger because I then become that little child that felt everyone was angry with me. So I withdraw. And I've, discovered this. And I now am able to say to someone, I really can't be here with you if you're going to be angry. I wouldn't do that before. So that self honesty and self awareness allows me to help maybe, well, certainly help myself. It should be my goal at that point, but also let someone understand that when we react in a way that's negative, it does touch other people. I don't think that most people know that. I don't think that they understand that they're just venting. And sometimes we do need to do that, but we need to do it in an environment that's safe. We need to be honest and say to someone, I'm feeling really in a bad space right now. And either, you want to sit and listen to me for a few minutes. Otherwise, I'm just going to go and take a walk if I or read a book, which I enjoy. So I hope that in some ways, when you come across this connections that happen with people that are in a space that we don't want to be a part of, we need to take an action and remove ourselves. We're not supposed to make ourselves hurt by feeling the guilt and responsibility we often pick up when other people are going through something that's not of our making. And it reminds us of things that were painful in our own lives. So hopefully that might give you a little bit of a pathway of what to do when we find ourselves in that uncomfortable situation. Is not to pick up the guilt, not to feel responsible, and not to let it become what we're feeling all of a sudden. If, not political things or arguments over religion or gossip, which is a biggie. Not letting other people's um, spots that are not where you want to be, not taking them on. Don't give them room for it in your head. Take your mind somewhere else. Pleasurable. Yeah, that's there. So I'll let you go for now and give you hopefully a few things to think about. And I will see you uh, around Thanksgiving time next month, almost a year.